Welcome back to Season 6 of the Group Practice Accelerator podcast, brought to you by Polaris Healthcare Partners, where we leverage decades of healthcare and business experience to drive growth in successful group practices just like yours. If you're a healthcare entrepreneur and you're interested in building, scaling, or exiting your group practice, you've found not only the industry's leading resource for business education, but a team of trusted advisors dedicated to helping you achieve and exceed your goals. In short, the team at Polaris creates clarity, confidence, and results. I'm your host, Jamie Falash, and the Group Practice Accelerator podcast is on the air. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again this week because we have a few things to cover together in today's episode. And when I say we, I mean you and I, because for those that prefer to watch the podcast on YouTube rather than listen to the show on one of a dozen platforms, you can see that I'm solo today. No guest, no interview, but please stay with me and I'll fill you in on what's ahead because you're going to want to listen all the way through and use the info we're going to dive into today. So, what are we going to talk about? Well, before we get to that, I have a quick announcement to make, and it'll all tie together at the end, I promise. I'm excited to share that we're bringing back Multisite Mastery, and we're going to do that this fall, October 7th through 9th. And for those that are already familiar, this is a workshop that we've built with Midmark for growing group practices. All right, okay, I know you can probably name a half a dozen other events out there that are aiming to help you grow group practices or DSOs, and they advertise around helping you scale, but I want to ask you to set aside those presumptions for a few minutes while I share how and why this workshop, and really, to be frank, our vision and mission at Polaris, they really play out differently. So more on that in a minute. But it does bring me to the gist of why you and I are chatting here today and why we need to tie all of this information together. So recently, I was talking with a longtime industry friend, and he was telling me that he works with a lot of founders who have 2 locations, 3 locations, and he shared a bit about Multisite Mastery with them in the past. And for some, their response was, "Oh, that sounds great, but we're doing well, and we're even thinking about adding a few more locations over the next couple of years." The responses were that they were feeling confident about that. They've grown this far. We've got this, that kind of feedback. And in sharing this, my friend looks at me and says, "I wonder if they know how hard it's about to get for them." And we just sat there for a moment because that question really hit home because we both already knew, we knew what the answer was going to be. And it's a resounding no, they really don't. And that's not everyone, of course, but we want to get to why that is and later what you can do about it, more importantly. Now, respectfully, I'd love to tell you that the growth you're seeing at 2 or 3 locations, or sometimes even 5 locations, would just keep compounding smoothly with each subsequent de novo acquisition. But I'm here to tell you that based on the data and based on decades of experience from both the Polaris team and the Midmark team and many others out there, that they've walked in your path. The troubles do start to unfold from that point forward. Unfortunately, we already know that it's going to get frustrating, and we already know that it's going to get expensive. Now, understandably, you're asking why. Like, why is this happening? What are you even talking about? I'm absolutely fine. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today because I want to bring some clarity and direction for those docs out there that really do have a strong desire to expand. Because to be completely fair, none of us can see around corners very well, and you might really be just fine right now. But all of us need to sit down with somebody who has done it, seen it, they've made the mistakes, achieved it, bought the t-shirt, to really get the full picture, and more importantly, to use that information to map out our next steps. So today, it's just us, and we're going to talk about your plan and what you need to do to execute on it based on what experience and based on what data tell us. So you can skip past the part where things start to fall apart, and worse, where your profitability and therefore your value starts to nosedive, leaving you wondering what the heck just happened. Okay, so that brings me back to Multisite Mastery. I mean, the name of the workshop completely gives it away, but the aim is for you to master what it takes to create a platform that is, and it remains structured, profitable, and importantly, beneficial to your patients, regardless of how many locations you have in your strategic plan. Enterprise value is the name of the game here, and it won't be what you want it to be if you're not set up properly. And I can promise you that. Now, members of my own team and the Midmark team and some of our speakers even have joined me in the past to talk about multi-site mastery here on the show. But you and I are going to walk through how in just a couple of days, really, a couple of really inexpensive days with great hospitality, I have to add, you can walk away with a plan and new knowledge rooted in the experience of those who've been there before you and who can guide you and help you get around those hurdles that inevitably have to be addressed right around that location 3, 4, 5. Because what we find is that when you're in the day to day of your business, it's really easy to overlook one thing. And that's with expansion comes complexity. But it's a complexity that we can really easily solve for as long as we have the right elements in place. So, we're going to give you those elements and help set you up to expand the right way. And maybe this workshop isn't for you, and that's okay. And you certainly don't have to attend to expand your footprint and to be strategic or be profitable. But something I ask myself when I'm looking at events to attend is this: what would it be worth to me if I could gain greater direction, more solid strategy about what I want to do, and learn from my peers, and maybe even be available to offer my own experience and mentorship to another peer? I know we all like to connect with colleagues at industry events. It's one of those things I love about our industry. And for me, I like to get to know people in a smaller setting like this. I just find that it all feels more collaborative and I come away with more tangible things that I can make a plan for and start to tackle them kind of one by one when I get back. So, at a minimum, I would just encourage you to make sure that you have a mentor who has been there if the workshop isn't right for you. And let's say you do decide to attend. Your growth strategy and confidence will be meaningfully greater if you can step away briefly from the day to day and recenter your vision and really be open to examining your strategic plan. Or maybe you need to create one with us, and that's fine. We can use that experience to amplify and provide structure for what you want for your organization. So let's get started. And how are we doing this? Let's talk about what that looks like. So after we all get to Ohio and meet and get to know each other on Wednesday evening, we're going to start Thursday morning off with your growth strategy. Big surprise, right? So we want to start there because that's a foundational piece. Okay, but what does growth strategy really mean? What it means is this: candidly, you're not going anywhere if you don't have your next 5, 10, 15 years planned out in front of you. Seriously. Our CEO, DeWalker Sinha, 100% of the time talks our clients through how to start with the end in mind. We always do this. It's one of the most important things you can do. You need to think about what it is that you want at the end of the game, and it's never too early to lay it all out. In fact, he's going to help you do that during the workshop and explain why every subsequent move you make from October 9th on, after we all depart, really has to come back to that plan. And if it doesn't align, you need to rethink it. So, yeah, things change. We get that. Nothing's ever concrete till it's in the past. And yes, life can throw you all kinds of curveballs. But if you let yourself stray from your vision very far and bend too far, you're going to start to see your enterprise value diminish. So, sticking to your strategy comes first. Okay. So then we're going to hear from someone who has walked in your shoes already, Dr. Vivek Solanki. He's a mentor, a group practice founder. He's built a thriving group practice and has been really successful as our clinical coach here at Polaris, and we're grateful to have him. And he develops other doctors and associates so they can be patient-centric $1 million plus producers in your business or partners. He's going to share his journey because it's critical to hear from your peers. And I know the ups and downs and the missteps and the victories are going to resonate with a lot of you. And from that story, those experiences, will come your business plan. That's our third session on Thursday. Your growth strategy that we talked about has to take shape on paper. And DeWalker's going to guide you through that process. New or existing, we're going to work through it. And when we think of our foundations, we can't exclude design. And that's where Pat and Dr. Jeff Carter come in. And they're going to share their experience on why how you create your space matters so much as you're growing with your organization. It does matter so much. In fact, one of my favorite episodes from last year was with a client of ours, Dr. Vince Monticello, because he really drove home how having identical spaces creates a more efficient and a more seamless and therefore more profitable workflow. And that trickles all the way down to the last detail, and it has such a big impact on your value. Chaos is no bueno, and his organization is a great example of how that repeatability creates value. And we can't have beautifully designed ops and sterilization rooms and on without the right equipment to make each space function at its highest level of efficiency. We all know that. So, Midmark's director of marketing, Michael Couch, will be walking us through how to look at selecting and implementing equipment as you scale and why that matters so much to your value. Now, the last two sessions planned for Thursday take us back to strategy. First, DeWalker's going to help us explore how you can expand your business value and increase retention and your multiple at exit by using buy in and earn in partnership strategies. And of course, we can't talk about any of that. We can't talk about structure, partnerships, incentive plans, and agreements without considering the legal side of things. So, our Polaris friend and attorney Sarah Stock, founder of Stock Legal, will be providing key considerations in terms of partnership and structure and a whole lot more. And if you've caught either of the two podcasts Sarah and I have done together, you know that she has this keen ability to drill even the most complex things down into simple terms that make sense for the path that you choose, because we all know that necessary legal aspects of your business can be a little overwhelming at times. That's understandable. So go back and catch those episodes when you have the chance. Anyhow, we'll wrap up day one in the Midmark Experience Center with an activity, and then we're going to head back to their beautiful hotel for dinner at Silas. All right, so day two kicks us off bright and early, and this is a fun part. I know you're going to enjoy it. If you've never been to Midmark and taken a tour through one of their manufacturing plants, you're missing out. It's so cool to watch the quality and the craftsmanship come together using the same system used by Toyota to bring quality to life. And most importantly, it's done by using proven, efficient, repeatable systems. Sense a theme here? Yeah, it's a recipe for success, and we know that. So, Jenny Vanderpool, who holds a Lean Six Sigma black belt, will be telling us exactly how that translates into the foundation of your practices. And she'll be taking us in some groups on a plant tour. It's a worthwhile experience. I know I really enjoyed it, and I think you will too. And then to complete our time together on Friday, DeWalker's going to take you through what will bring all these foundational pieces together. And that's how to see the full value of the legacy that you've created. We all want to see your vision come to life. And for those of you that have joined him for a personalized discovery day in the past, you know how impactful laying out that full journey can be. And then he'll be followed by Midmark's Megan Winter, who will then layer in how your brand and your culture play such a critical role in your design and in your strategic plan. Those are two pieces that really help humanize your vision. Also, really important. And then as we close our time together, we're going to invite all of you to spend some time with our sponsors. Now, I want to pause here and be very clear on something. We're not inviting an exhibit hall of sponsors to this event. It's not a ballroom in a giant resort hotel. It's an intimate setting, and it's meant to be that way. So you can directly engage with the speakers and sponsors and your peers as you wish. So we've only invited a handful of our partners that we feel that you need to get to know to build your enterprise the way that you want it. They're going to help you manage everything from leasing the space to legal, marketing, compliance, operations, in-app workflow, and a couple more. So you want to make sure that you talk with them, book time during the event, which will end with a quick lunch on Friday, giving you plenty of time to collaborate and still make it home to enjoy the weekend. That's our goal. So I've thrown a lot at you today. So thank you for sticking with me, but we're not done quite yet. You know, our format here on the podcast and at Polaris is to provide guidance and resources. And we do that whether that's through experts in our own house or with our partner companies and vendors that we trust. And we tackle different topics every week to get you thinking about how you want your business to expand and how you want that legacy to play out. And we've done that every Thursday since 2021. And it certainly didn't start with me. And Multisite Mastery will be a live version of targeted guidance and education where you get to join us. So we hope that you do. As a listener, you've heard us cover so many foundational and detailed conversations over the years that are meant to support your growth. And, you know, those conversations have to evolve just like your business does and with the market. But like we talked about earlier, you need to know what's ahead, what's directly in your path around the next corner. And this workshop packages all that up really nicely to help us grow in the most efficient, strategic, profitable way while we avoid all the trial and error and wasted time. Now, every business has hiccups. We know that. But some can have a really serious effect on your bottom line. Maybe there's a lot of turnover. Maybe each location has its own way of doing things, from procurement to clinical to front desk to workflows. Maybe there's not the consistency that needs to be there for the business to sustain its growth or even to maintain its current level of success. And adding locations at 2, 3, 5 is really where we see often these disruptions in profitability take place. You need the data, the resources, and the plan to get there efficiently so you can realize the full potential of the business that you poured yourself into building. Our time together at the workshop will be worth the brief time away, and you'll come back with a firm grasp on your strategic plan. Very important. How you'll pay for it. Dewalker's an expert here. Did I mention that? Maybe I didn't, but that's good intel, right? And why design and workflow is critical to your growth. And of course, structure. Gosh, I can't shout this word loudly enough because without it, you simply can't grow in a meaningful or profitable way, period. So, staying with that for just a second, structure in your business looks like defined processes, a leadership team that you trust to carry out all these processes. Go listen to last week's podcast, I believe it is, and you'll get what I'm talking about. Clinical and operational structure, structure in your setup, your operating and employment agreements, your incentive and partnership program, your finances. Structure literally touches every part of your business once you've set your vision. And it has to, because nothing is sustainable in chaos or uncertainty. We know that. So let's come together, check in on the plans we've made for the future, or create some new ones, and share knowledge in October. So click the link in the show notes and get registered today. We'll take it from there. Thanks so much for spending time with me today and for being a loyal listener and subscriber. If there's a topic that you'd like to hear more about, drop us an email to info@polarishealthcarepartners.com or visit our website at polarishealthcarepartners.com and go up and hit that Contact Us button. We'll get back to you just as soon as we can. I'll see you on the next episode of the Group Practice Accelerator podcast.